Welcome to Golden Rule Wisdom. Today we share a beautiful story that touches the heart and inspires your soul to grow stronger. Deep inside this vibrant forest lived a small, gentle turtle named Kiro, who loved observing the beauty of nature around him daily. While other animals possessed incredible speed and boundless energy, Kiro moved through the dense undergrowth with a very slow and deliberate pace. The agile rabbits and graceful deer would often sprint past him, leaving behind nothing but a swirling cloud of dust and leaves. Kiro never complained about his nature, but he sometimes wondered what it would feel like to run as fast as the wind. One sunny morning, a boastful rabbit stopped right in front of Kiro, laughing loudly at the tiny turtle, taking his slow steps. The rabbit mocked him cruelly, asking why he even bothered trying to walk when he would never reach anywhere in his life. Other animals gathered around, giggling softly at the harsh joke, completely ignoring the visible sadness in the little turtle's bright green eyes. Hearing those hurtful words made Kiro feel incredibly small and entirely useless in a world that only praised speed and physical agility. He slowly retreated into his hard shell, hiding his tears from the crowd, wishing he could just disappear from the forest forever. However, deep down in his brave heart, Kiro knew that he had a unique purpose, even if nobody else could see it. Days turned into weeks, and Kiro continued his peaceful routine, steadily walking across the meadow, ignoring the whispers of the fast animals. He learned to appreciate the tiny details of the forest, like the blooming wildflowers and the gentle morning dew on the grass. How the fast runners missed these beautiful sights completely, always rushing blindly from one place to another without ever stopping to look around. Life in the valley seemed perfectly normal until one afternoon when the bright blue sky suddenly turned into a terrifying dark grey. The warm breeze quickly transformed into a violent, howling wind that violently shook the ancient trees and sent leaves flying everywhere wildly. A massive storm was approaching rapidly, bringing heavy black clouds that completely blocked out the sun and cast shadows across the valley. Panic instantly erupted among the forest creatures as the first freezing drops of rain began to fall heavily upon the dry ground. The boastful rabbit was the very first to flee, darting away like a lightning bolt toward the safety of his deep burrow. The graceful deer leaped over tall bushes in absolute terror, desperately seeking shelter inside the darkest corners of the thick pine woods. The flocks of colorful birds frantically abandoned the open sky, diving quickly into the thickest branches to hide from the incoming destructive storm. Within mere seconds, the once lively meadow was completely deserted, leaving only the slow turtle struggling against the rapidly increasing wind gusts. Kiro tucked his head slightly, preparing to endure the terrible weather, knowing his sturdy shell could protect him from the harsh elements. The thunderstorm finally unleashed its full wrath, striking the earth with blinding flashes of lightning and deafening roars of terrifying loud thunder. Rain poured down in massive sheets, turning the peaceful dirt paths into rushing streams of muddy water that swept away small rocks. Suddenly, amidst the chaotic roaring of the storm, Kiro heard a faint, desperate cry coming from the base of a tall oak. He slowly turned his head and squinted through the heavy rain, trying to locate the source of the tiny, heartbreaking distress call. There, shivering helplessly in a cold puddle of mud, was a tiny baby bird that had been blown out of its nest. The poor creature was completely soaked, unable to fly, and hopelessly crying for a mother who was nowhere to be seen around. Kiro looked around frantically, hoping that the fast rabbit or the strong deer would rush back to rescue the freezing little bird. But the fast animals were already far away, safely hidden in their warm shelters, completely unaware of the baby bird in danger. The turtle realized that he was the only one left in the meadow, and he had to do something to save it. Taking a deep breath, Kiro stepped out of his comfortable spot and began his difficult journey toward the crying little baby bird. The fierce wind pushed against his shell relentlessly, trying to force him backward, but Kiro planted his short legs firmly into mud. Every single step required an immense amount of effort, and draining his energy as the cold rain continuously battered his small green face. It took him what felt like an eternity to cross the short distance, but he refused to stop moving forward even once. He remembered the rabbit mocking his speed, but right now, speed did not matter at all. Only sheer determination and courage mattered. Finally reaching the shivering bird, Kiro gently nudged it with his nose, offering a warm presence in the middle of the storm. The frightened bird looked up at the brave turtle with tearful eyes, finding a glimmer of hope in his steady, calm gaze. Kiro lowered his body into the mud, allowing the tiny bird to slowly climb onto his strong, protective shell for much safety. Now carrying a precious life on his back, Kiro faced his next incredible challenge, finding a safe shelter before the flood worsened. He spotted a small, rocky cave located at the edge of the clearing. A perfect hideout from the violent wind and rain. The path to the cave was slippery and covered with broken branches, making the journey extremely dangerous for the slow, heavy turtle. With the baby bird clinging tightly to his shell, Kiro resumed his slow, agonizing march through the terrifying chaos of the tempest. Lightning flashed brightly above them, illuminating the small turtle as he bravely pushed through a thick puddle of rapidly flowing brown water. His muscles ached terribly, and he felt completely exhausted, but the soft chirping of the bird on his back kept him going. He slipped on a wet stone and almost tumbled over, but he caught his balance, protecting the fragile passenger at all costs. The wind howled furiously, as if angry at the little turtle defying its mighty power, but Kiro simply ignored the deafening noise. Inch by inch, foot by foot, he closed the distance to the cave, demonstrating a level of endurance nobody knew he possessed. The fast rabbit could have crossed this distance in seconds, but the rabbit was not here. Only the slow turtle remained steadfast. Kiro finally reached the entrance of the dark cave, dragging his tired body inside where the ground was completely dry and safe. He gently shook his shell, allowing the exhausted baby bird to hop down onto a soft bed of dry moss and leaves. The storm continued to rage outside the cave for several hours, but inside, the two unlikely friends rested peacefully in warm silence. Kiro watched the baby bird fall asleep safely, feeling a profound sense of pride and joy warming his cold, tired little body. He realized that his slow pace did not make him worthless. His true strength was his steady heart and his unbreakable will. Eventually, the dark clouds began to part, and the angry storm slowly faded away, leaving behind a fresh, sparkling and quiet forest. Golden sunlight pierced through the remaining mist, illuminating the valley and signaling to all the hidden animals that the danger had passed. The fast animals cautiously emerged from their hiding spots, shaking off the fear and surveying the massive damage caused by the storm. The mother bird flew frantically around the fallen oak tree, crying out loudly in absolute despair for her missing little baby bird. The rabbit and the deer watched her sadly, feeling entirely helpless, assuming the fragile creature had been swept away by the flood. Suddenly, a small rustling sound from the nearby cave caught their attention, making all the forest animals turn their heads in silence. Out of the dark shadows emerged Kiro the turtle, walking at his usual slow pace. But this time, he was not alone. Walking closely beside him, yet safe and completely unharmed, was the missing baby bird, chirping happily at the sight of the bright sun. The mother bird swooped down instantly, wrapping her wings around her precious child, crying tears of immense joy and overwhelming pure gratitude. All the animals stared at the little turtle in absolute shock, unable to comprehend how he had survived and saved the bird. The boastful rabbit stepped forward, his ears drooping in deep shame, as he realized how incredibly wrong he had been about Kiro. He apologized sincerely to the brave turtle, admitting that running fast meant absolutely nothing without having the courage to help someone else. The other animals nodded in agreement, finally understanding that true strength does not come from physical speed or flashy displays of power. From that day forward, nobody in the beautiful green valley ever laughed at Kiro or mocked his slow and steady walking pace. They respected him deeply, knowing that when disaster struck, it was the slowest animal who possessed the strongest and most resilient spirit. This beautiful story teaches us a timeless lesson about life, reminding us that speed and talent do not automatically define your worth. Do not feel discouraged if you are moving slowly toward your goals, while others seem to be sprinting far ahead of you. What truly matters is your unwavering determination, your gentle kindness, and your absolute refusal to give up when facing a terrible storm. Keep taking those small steps forward, because true success belongs to those who maintain their courage and never stop moving with purpose. Thank you for watching Golden Rule Wisdom. We hope this story brought you peace. Stay strong, stay kind, and see you soon.